this is Greg Kelly. Donate now to Toys for Tots, which works year-round. Go to toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots supports children in need throughout the year with programs like the Toys for Tots Literacy Program. Established in 2008, it has provided over 63 million books to disadvantaged children. The Toys for Tots Literacy Program is committed to providing disadvantaged children with direct access to books and educational resources that enhance their ability to read and communicate effectively. Go to toysfortots.org.
In the squadron, they called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Early polling shows Newsom is the potential front runner for the Democrats.
Who is the Democratic front runner for 2028 after tonight? Gavin Newsom.
Look who's jumped up, all the way up to 24% chance, about a 1 in 4 chance of getting the nomination. Gavin Newsom.
If you look at the Polymarket betting odds on who will be the 2020 Democratic nominee, Newsom is far ahead.
Wow. You're all wrong. Newsom put out a devastatingly stupid book that should render him unelectable and probably impeachable for the office that he currently officially holds, although he never seems to want to do the job. He likes to go on podcasts. He likes to host his own podcast, write books, navel-gazing, chillaxing, fooling around, just having a good time. The idea of being the governor, I got to look more closely at the state of California in terms of its governor. The dirty little secret about governors, they don't really govern, right? Their legislatures are part-time, so therefore they're part-time. They don't have much at their disposal. They got state troopers, right? But state troopers, you don't have that many of them compared to local police departments, and the local police departments don't report to the governor. What do you have? The state parks, right? You don't have an army, and you don't have a lot of operational authority, but the word governor connotes that you've got all this power and influence and strength, and you really don't. But there are things, maybe it's not glamorous work, but there are things you can do as the governor, like, hey, why don't we make sure all the fire hydrants work, right? Why don't we do that? Why don't we make sure all the state aquifers and reservoirs are full of water? Because our state is known for its forest fires, right? Putting them out and protecting the community. All that stuff is drudgery, right? That's not cool. Can't do that, nobody wants to take your picture when you're doing that. Much more interesting to talk about climate change. I mean, a lot of girls are into climate change. I have this theory, by the way, where the liberal men come from, like why they're liberal. Because a man who's liberal is really not a man, right? There's something really off about a man who's liberal. But unless the man is liberal, just so he can get close to the liberal chicks, right? That makes a lot of sense. I don't want to say I know about that, but I know about that. So Gavin Newsom is the number one candidate on the Democrat side. Not for long, and not if enough people read this book, or at least hear me talk about this crazy book that he had the audacity to write as a sitting governor. It's pretty insane, and it's pretty stupid and boring, and it's full of mistakes. I mean, chock full of mistakes. You want to hear the most interesting part of the book, which probably isn't true? The salesman who used to come to his grandmother's house, the Hoover vacuum salesman. Hey, by the way, how often do you buy a vacuum cleaner? Think about that. How many times do you buy a vacuum cleaner in the span of your life, right? It's not something you buy once a month or twice a year or once every couple of years at best, maybe, right? I remember one night I was hosting a show with Rosanna Scotto, and I knew that there was something. People talked about the chemistry between us. I didn't really sense it. Just kidding. We had something special going on, but I didn't realize how special it was until one night. I don't know. It was like in February of 2011, random night. We had been doing the show together for years, and the next morning she said, "What did you do last night?" She said, "I went to I actually went to Bed Bath & Beyond to buy a vacuum cleaner." And she looked at me, and her eyes like bulged out of her head. I bought a Dyson ball from Target last night. I'm like, is that wild or what? We were like in this weird kind of sync right? There are certain things about us that we operated on the same frequency. We were also very different people. Anyway, here's from Gavin's book about some salesman who visited his grandmother 100 years ago. Cut 2. Pump up the volume.
The front door of my grandparents' house was never locked, and into the entry walked a burlesque of California dreamers. There was the Hoover vacuum salesman, Mr. Lorenzo, a narcoleptic who, without fail, fell asleep on the couch when demonstrating the sucking power of his latest model. Shh, my grandmother Newsom would whisper to her children, index finger to lip. Can't you see Mr. Lorenzo is sleeping?
I'm telling you, that's as interesting as the whole damn book got. He spends the first couple of chapters trying to convince everybody that he has learning disabilities, and then the next couple of chapters bragging about how well he did in high school, in the classroom and on the basketball court, the baseball field. The San Francisco Examiner, major newspaper, was writing about him, some kid in the suburbs, which actually makes sense because at one point in the game, he talks about how his father, who people called boss, right? Because he was a political boss, literally. And a congressman, another, I met one congressman my entire time growing up, once, Ray McGrath. He came to our high school graduation. I think I once saw John Weidler somewhere, who was the guy before Ray McGrath. I mean, these people were not accessible. They were very, very, very special people. And the congressman was going to his basketball game. And, he's getting in the newspaper because of his old man. All right. But it's the mistakes that drive me crazy. What he's about to say here is impossible. It's another stupid story about somebody he never met, but, some friend of his grandfather's. It's impossibly boring to read, but my ears perked up when I heard this. Cut 3, please. Cut 3.
If some poor guy died in the streets, Kine would pay for the funeral. My grandfather was not shy about his affection for Kine, not even after the Kefauver Committee shut down his bookmaking operation in 1946.
Busted, the Kefauver Committee. Now, I happen to remember Kefauver from history, right? Now, Kefauver's first name was Estes, Senator Estes Kefauver. He was a fixture of the 1950s. In 1946, there was no Kefauver Committee. I had to look it up. I mean, at first I'm like, wait, 1946? That's too early for a Kefauver Committee. Sure enough, it's 1950 to 1951. It was a big deal. He wasn't doing anything in 1946. Is that a little thing? No, it ain't. You're writing a book and you get something like that wrong. Also, Estes Kefauver, the first name Estes. I think he might have something to do with that model rocket company. You ever get a Estes rocket? Anyway, a little bit more on Estes Kefauver, senator from Tennessee, Democrat, I believe. Cut 4.
Well, it was in the early 1950s that Democratic Senator Estes Kefauver of Tennessee and his special committee interrogated major organized crime figures like Frank Costello. The hearings, held over a series of months, had 600 witnesses and went to 14 cities. Many Americans learned details about organized crime for the first time. In 1951, 12 million U.S. households had TVs, and this became a major and early television event. The hearings also made Estes Kefauver a household name and helped fuel his political career.
How about that? Is it a little thing? Yeah. But for me, if it's in a book, it really should be special. You got to get it right. And he's getting it wrong. Oh, and I think he exaggerates about his mother. Sure, she was a perfectly good woman, but got to treat her with respect, Gavin. Can't exaggerate. Cut 5, if you don't mind. Cut 5.
To make ends meet, Mom had to take on second and third jobs. At different points, she was working as an assistant buyer in the children's department at I-Magnin 4 days a week, a bookkeeper in the financial district 1 day a week, a waitress at Ramona's Mexican restaurant in San Rafael on Friday and Saturday nights.
All right, so a couple of things are going on there. To make ends meet, my mom would have second and third jobs, but at different points. All right, if you got to play it one more time, if you don't mind, all right? It's a little bit, but stay with me on this.
To make ends meet, Mom had to take on second and third jobs. At different points, she was working as an assistant buyer in the children's department at iMagnin 4 days a week.
Stop! 4 days a week. Okay, 4 days a week. Continue.
A bookkeeper in the financial district 1 day a week.
Stop! 2 jobs. 2 part-time jobs equals 1 full-time job. See what I mean? It's playing a game. I mean, my mom has had all kinds of jobs. She was a caterer. She was a high school nurse. She was a salesperson for Sherwood Medical, did very, very well. She was in the Coast Guard. Let me think. She was a real estate agent. There's 5 right there. But she didn't do them all at the same time. Neither did Mrs. Newsom. Keep going.
A waitress at Ramona's Mexican restaurant in San Rafael on Friday and Saturday nights.
All right. You see? He's playing a game. He's playing a game with his own mom, and then he hides behind his mom. He gets really, really bent out of shape in a little bit, but now he does worse. He's got to sell this crummy book, and he's not a pleasing personality. There's something really wrong with him. I do this because I want to make sure that Gavin Newsom can't run for president. You can't be that bad, right, during the fire and the rest, that much of a psychopath egomaniac with little to no ability, and write a book documenting it all, and you get to be a presidential candidate, like a viable presidential candidate? No. Now, does this sound like a guy with a full-time job that we're paying him to do, the people of California? Cut 6, please. This is from Mark Halperin's awesome podcast. Mark Halperin, you got to listen to his content. Cut 6.
So this young man in a hurry is a memoir of discovery. And this memoir of discovery is quite literally discovering about my mom and dad and their divorce, learning about my mother and her father and her grandfather, learning about my dad and his struggles, not just his ambitions, and as a process, learning about myself. And so that's what this book is, and that's what it represents. It's not the veneer of a politician. It's not a sanitized version of a elected official or public servant. It's about me scrutinizing myself in relationship to my past, and as it relates to the present and the future.
Did you hear that part there? It's about me scrutinizing myself. Knock yourself out, Gavin, but quit. Yeah, I keep hearing California is the 5th largest economy in the world, and he's spending time scrutinizing himself. It's about me scrutinizing myself. Now, you remember those horrible fires? And Gavin Newsom was terrible. He got caught lying to that lady. She goes, I need your help. I need your help. I'm literally on the phone with the president right now. Let me talk to him. I literally can't get cell service. So you're not talking. You literally said you were talking to him. I'm literally trying to call him right now. Let's see here. What's next? Oh, yeah. Cut 8, if you don't mind. Cut 8.
No, look, I just, Mark, I don't know if you've seen this. I don't know that anyone cares to see it. I'm on the other side of a lot of things right now. I'm just, I've been shapeshifted in the last couple years. After the recall, I came out a totally different person. After the fires in Los Angeles, where I was on my heels and getting just crushed by Elon and by Trump and the right-wing media and Hannity and all these guys.
Me too. Don't forget, I was making fun of him, mocking him, documenting his failures. But people lost their homes. People lost their lives. People lost their jobs. And he's worried about a little action on social media. He's worried that we made fun of him and that we documented his incompetence. Words? Oh, you're on your heels. What about your constituents? Selfish son of a bitch, right? Really selfish. Let me see here. Cut 9.
My mom worked 2 or 3 jobs her entire life. And I know that offends folks.
Yeah.
That just think I'm trying to sanitize. But you know what?
So offended.
With all due respect to those guys on Fox and everywhere else that want to just bury folks because they disagree with them. No. My mother deserves more grace. And I'm going to give her that dignity to talk about her life and her struggles, where she did work 2 or 3 jobs her whole life.
No, I just showed how that's not true, actually. How you embellished it. Don't criticize the book because you're criticizing my mom. I just, bottom line, this most important part right here. He sows his fate, right? He cannot, seals his fate. He cannot be president because of this admission right here. Listen closely, please. Gavin Newsom on himself, again, favorite topic, cut 10.
It's the privileged side that people see, and they don't necessarily see the side of my mom and her struggles. And so I try to crack all that open because it's a way of cracking me open. It explains my anxieties, my uncertainty, my imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome, the belief that you're a fraud, intellectually or professionally. Imposter syndrome, he has it. That's one job that renders you completely ineligible to be our leader. At least I don't know if other presidents have had it. If they had, they never opened their big mouth. His problem is he talks too much and he's not good at talking. Okay? Bye-bye, Gavin. I will be right back.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
One of the best analyses of the war so far from Mark Halperin, total genius. You got to check him out at Two-Way. He says you can criticize this 100 Ways to Sunday about Donald Trump's campaign against Iran. But if the metric of success was to do as much as possible to degrade Iran's capabilities, naval, missile, nuclear, command and control, this was outstanding and with very, very little cost. If he stopped today, he would have succeeded more than any other president. I'll take all the presidents and what they did to Iran, combine their activities, they don't come close to what President Trump just did. It's really amazing. Little cost. Blood and treasure, very little. If he stopped today, he would have succeeded more than any other president. The nitpicking that is happening right now is actually very interesting to listen to. And I think it's just fuel for a guy like President Trump at this point. Not fuel to keep this thing going. I mean, he can declare a victory because victory has been achieved. And it's really interesting to see. You and I, we've been here before. We know what it's like. We know what it's like to hear everybody losing their minds, their hair on fire about Donald Trump, but we can see through all that and see what's really happening. Not become alarmed. He hasn't let us down yet. He's not letting us down now. It's pretty awesome when you process it that way, in my opinion. Hey, when we come back, not only did Gavin Newsom write a book that will be used against him in the primary, so did Kamala Harris. All right. Now, these idiots, they write these books and they get their seven-figure. I mean, Kamala Harris made almost $20 million on that book. And it's full of lies, provable lies. We'll have my favorite one, okay? My favorite one. More on the Mamdani situation, a terrorist attack fueled by ISIS happened right outside his house. And he blames white supremacy. It was ISIS. The guys said they were from ISIS. And this guy can't bring himself to say anything bad about ISIS.
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I filed my return, but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do?
My refund, though.
I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Blizzard Entertainment presents Midnight, the newest expansion for World of Warcraft. Midnight calls every hero home to Azeroth. All paths lead to this moment. Xal'atath rises, the Void follows, and the Sunwell stands in peril. Raiders, explorers, storytellers, newcomers, and legends alike. This is your world, your story, your moment. Because Azeroth is home, and home is always worth fighting for. Available now at worldofwarcraft.com.
This episode is brought to you by Alexa Plus. Say hello to Alexa Plus and see how Alexa can do more for you. Need tickets to that last-minute show? Craving your favorite restaurant? Sit back, relax, and talk naturally. Alexa's on it. Alexa learns your preferences to create a personalized experience. And now, Alexa Plus is free with Prime on your Amazon devices, like Echo and Fire TV. Learn more at Amazon.com/Alexa Plus.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Well, hello. Hello. I see a lot of people busting on the F-35, including myself. I have my doubts about the F-35. They made a lot of... I'm talking about the F-35, the Joint Strike Fighter. I have no sense about how it's doing in this thing. I know the F-18 is kicking ass. The F-35, though, the Joint Strike Fighter, we spent almost $1 trillion on it. I'm watching one land on the aircraft carrier. A couple of things about this thing. Way too expensive. Only one engine, which really bothers me. Should have two engines. I know it's stealthy, but I think we got ripped off. I think we may have gotten ripped off. It seems to me to have no personality. I know it's not as maneuverable as planes that we had 40 years ago. Something is a little bit wrong with that plane. Now, however, somebody I know pointed out to me, look, one of the reasons why people bitch and moan about the new fighter jet is because it's easy to bitch and moan, right? I mean, what forum did you have when the F-16 debuted in 1978? Where could you go to bitch and moan about the F-16? First of all, you really couldn't know too much about the F-16. I mean, maybe they wrote an article about it in the newspaper, but were they writing about its turn radius? Were they writing about, its missile capacity? No. They were probably just writing about congressional funding or something like that. You couldn't get the specs online. We had no internet at that point, not one that we had access to. Now we have Reddit. We have, people complain and weigh in on everything from Chinese food restaurants to DoorDash to, the girls they're meeting on Tinder to F-35 jets. And some people love it. Some people hate it. I am not impressed. All right. But it probably isn't as bad as I've been led to believe because we have so many forums, right? Nothing is ever good enough. Now, people have always been bitching and moaning about everything, but there was only so many things you could do about it. What did you do? What could you do? You could write a letter to the editor. And that took time. That took effort. You had to get your piece of paper. You had to write it down. You had to put a stamp on it, go to the post office, mailbox, whatever. Very few people were going to do that. Those who did it were generally weirdos. Now it's easy to do all those things. It's very, very easy to do that. Online, whatever. It's a million times easier. So all of us are doing it, or a lot of us are doing it. Have you seen some of the savage reviews, what people say about restaurants? What's that thing called? Yelp? Yelp. Who needs it? I mean, nobody seems to be satisfied with anything. Everybody's brutal. I think everybody feels often beaten down, right? They feel beaten down, so they want to beat up on somebody else. You have to resist that urge. You must resist that urge. Hey, I'm looking at a live scene. Yeah, Indiana got hit bad by tornadoes. They got a search dog there. Oh, those dogs are always so cute. Always so cute. I love search dogs. Hey, what did we want to do? Oh, yes, I had to just get this silly Kamala thing out. I thought Kamala was dead meat after she embarrassed herself in 2020. Apparently, no. No. She could do this again. Cut 12, if you don't mind, please. Cut 12.
Kamala Harris, who's currently leading the Democrats in the polls. And I know Bakari was such a big fan of Kamala in the 2024 election. She looks like she's coming back to me.
You would encourage her to run?
I think she would be incredibly strong. She very well could be the nominee. She could put herself up to be the nominee.
Well, she's got nothing else to do, right? She could just live her life, spend her money. But she is a dishonest woman. She's an incompetent woman. She's a halfway decent looking woman, right? And there's something about her. There's something about her. She's got a certain, right? And I think one of the things about her is she knows how to flirt with men. She likes men, right? There's this thing, this energy, right? She seems very receptive, very, very flirty. Because from what I hear, Doug is not exactly an attentive husband in certain rooms in the house. That's the word. All right, so here's Kamala lying like she does. And I have proof that she's lying. Okay. Number one, remember what happened. Joe Biden quit the race. The nomination goes to her, right? Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, but nobody voted for this woman. And presto changeo, she's the nominee. Nobody voted for her. I mean, you got to run. You have to run to get the nomination. You actually have to run to get it. Hey, when did Chris Sununu become the CEO of United Airlines? Chris Sununu, the senator, is now an airline? I got to find out if he's a pilot or if he's just a senator cashing in. All right. Is he there because he knows how to run an airline, or he's there because of his connections in Washington? All right. Kamala Harris on getting that phone call from Joe that Joe was quitting the race. Cut 13.
We were sitting down to do a puzzle. And the phone rang, and it was Joe Biden. And he told me what he had decided to do. And I asked him, "Are you sure?" And he said yes. And that's how I learned about it.
And what about the endorsement? Did you ask for it?
He was very clear that he was going to support me.
So when he called to tell you, he said, "I'm pulling out of the race and I'm going to support you."
Well, my first thought was not about me, to be honest with you. My first thought was about him, to be honest.
To be honest. To be honest. She had a little smile on her face. To be honest. Her first thought was about him. Well, she forgot about that interview because when you're lying, it's very hard to keep track of your lies. And here she is writing the book. And what do we believe? I mean, you can't believe anything from this point, but I know this. It totally contradicts what you just said. Here she is, book on tape, cut 14.
His voice sounded hoarse, exhausted. "I've decided I'm dropping out," he said. "Are you sure?" I asked him. "I'm sure. I'm going to announce in a few minutes." "Why today?" "It's the only thing anyone is talking about," he said, "and it's too much. There's going to be another letter from Democratic members of Congress on Monday. It's too much." Really? I thought. Give me a bit more time. The whole world is about to change. I'm here in sweatpants, and the two people staffing me right now are under 4 feet tall.
Oh, isn't that cute? Right? Was she really talking about Joe, to be honest? Give me more time. I'm wearing sweatpants. I have my nieces and nephews here. Those are the under 4 feet tall people. Did she say, was there an ounce of concern for Joe Biden? Did she try to talk him out of it? Cut 15, please.
"I needed to start alerting the family before this story broke." The president was still talking. "I want you to do this," he said. He would endorse me, he said, but not for a day, maybe two, when he would make an address to the nation. That would be ruinous, and I said so. "Joe, I'm honored, but we live in a 24-hour news cycle, and if you wait that long, the airwaves will be full of nothing but questions. Why has he not supported his VP? If you want me to be in the strongest position, you have to endorse me now."
Endorse me now. Me. I have to be in the strongest position. Me. You have to do this for me right now. Now, what did she say her first thought was when she found out Joe was quitting the race? Cut 16.
He called to tell you, he said, "I'm pulling out of the race and I'm going to support you."
Well, my first thought was not about me, to be honest with you. My first thought was about him, to be honest.
How about that one, huh? I just love busting them in cold, stone-faced lies, right? They think so little of us. That's part of it. 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. Mamdani, I don't care that you're Muslim. All right. I do care in that since you're Muslim, you seem to be not vigilant about Islamist terrorism, ISIS-inspired terrorism that happened right outside your house. But I can't think of any mayor always talking about their ethnicity. I remember David Dinkins. I don't remember him talking that much about being the first black mayor. I don't remember Rudy Giuliani talking about being Italian. We don't care. We're used to this. People are different, right? We get that. Why are you always hitting us over the head with your religion? Mamdani, cut 17.
I consider my own faith, Islam, a religion built upon a narrative of migration. The story of the Hijrah reminds us that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I am proud to be a Muslim, I'm proud to be a New Yorker, I'm proud to be a Muslim New Yorker. Anti-Muslim bigotry is nothing new to me, nor is it anything new for the 1 million or so Muslim New Yorkers who know this city as our home.
No, yeah, it's the false victim act, right? I also have him saying, like, growing up, it was not a problem. Growing up, I mean, like, this is New York. We love everybody. Everybody's tolerant here. And then he says, oh, but I know what it's like to be the other, to be different, to be otherized. It's such a lying, sleazy guy. So I didn't realize how close these bombs were to Gracie Mansion. They were right outside the gates, right outside, right there. So Islamist ISIS terrorists try to detonate bombs right outside his house. And what is his beef with? What's his beef with? White people, cut 18.
This was a vile protest rooted in white supremacy entitled Stop the Islamic Takeover of New York City.
So he decries that, but he won't decry ISIS. And if you think, well, we're quibbling or something, no, this is very, very important. Now, he had a police commissioner right there and a deputy police commissioner right there, and they didn't feel comfortable talking about what really happened until they were safely away from him. They said virtually nothing, all right? And then once they get safely downtown, and the mayor isn't with them, this is what it sounds like. Here is Jessica Tisch, the NYPD commissioner, allegedly. Not impressed. Not impressed. Oh, no, I'm not. Now you work for 3 anti-cop mayors in a row. Why do you think you keep getting these jobs? I think it just might have something to do with the fact that your family is worth billions. That's what I've heard. Okay? So when you go looking for our vote, you know, I think people need to remember that you offered your services and you assisted with anti-cop mayors, 3 of them in a row. De Blasio, Adams, and now Mamdani. No one's impressed with those 3 guys, right? That you got big jobs under those? No. But now that the boss wasn't there, she could actually speak directly about this stuff. Cut 19.
The defendants were inspired by ISIS to carry out their attack. Both defendants have admitted that they acted on Saturday because of ISIS. This was not random violence. This was a planned attack motivated by extremist ideology and inspired by a violent foreign terrorist organization.
Wow. She going to be in trouble with her boss for saying it so clearly? And this is Rebecca Weiner, who really should be in a library somewhere. Instead, she's the deputy commissioner for counterterrorism. I can understand why these ISIS guys chose New York, to be honest, when they see these pushovers. Rebecca Weiner, who said when she got the job, her number 1 priority would be fighting white supremacy. Yes, she said it. Dealing with the unpleasant reality that her boss doesn't want to deal with. Cut 20, please. Cut 20.
This is very much in keeping with a trend that we are seeing among ISIS-inspired adherents, both in the country as well as throughout the West. Younger and younger individuals who are radicalizing and mobilizing to violence. And this is taking place against the backdrop of social media, the dynamics of online culture.
What about that white supremacy you were so worried about? What about the white supremacy Democrats have been talking about for, how long has it been now? Ever since President Trump showed up for some reason. Cut 21!
White supremacists, right-wing extremists, and domestic terrorists trying to stoke fear in the hearts of New Yorkers. They want us to think twice about our safety before we worship, before we get on a subway.
The white supremacist extremism is the dominant, most persistent source of domestic terrorism threats we face today.
They're all lying. They are all lying. And it's had real ramifications, okay? Because she actually had police departments pursuing ghosts instead of pursuing what was really out there. Hey, folks, experts say this flu season is the worst we've seen in years. And either way, you know how this goes. Every year, someone in my family gets sick, then everyone gets sick. And suddenly you're fighting to see a doctor or stuck waiting inside a crowded urgent care. Not this year, I'm ready. I ordered a medical emergency kit, and it's been a lifesaver. My kit is stocked with essential prescription medications, antibiotics like a generic Z-Pak to help you recover faster, amoxicillin for pneumonia, strep throat, and ear infections. Also, prescriptions for nausea, UTIs, and they even have some ivermectin in there. Now, it's simple. Match your symptoms in the guidebook or call the telemedicine doctor standing by. Start treatment early, feel better faster. No waiting rooms, no pharmacy lines. I love my medical emergency kit, and you should get one too. And I got you $45 off when you use my code GREG, G-R-E-G. Just go to urgentcarekit.com/Greg. That's urgentcarekit.com/Greg. And that promo code is GREG, Greg.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Hello, we're back. James Flippin giving me another lecture. I thought your name was Trippin, by the way. Sorry about that. Like James, like Tripper. Remember Jack Tripper from Three's Company? Who remembers when that show was so edgy? Oh my gosh, 2 girls living with a guy. We can't have that. Oh, let's come up with a cover. He's gay. I mean, by today's standards, I mean, living together was fine. I mean, like the gay part, that's the scandal. The scandal would be coming up with a fake cover story like that. He should be exactly who he is. Yeah, you could say that. All right, what else? 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. Our friend from the Waldorf Astoria Hotel, Chris, he was a construction guy on that thing. I think they finished it. It looks like it's all finished, right?
Yeah, Greg, it's all finished. I'm actually the big GC. I'm on another one of their projects, and it's like a third world country again. But
what are you doing now?
The point. I was calling you.
What are you doing now?
I do marble in the union, so we do marble, marble bathrooms and kitchens and stuff like that. The real exotic, high end stuff. I'm doing something on the West Side Highway now, looking at the river downtown near Clarkson.
You're installing a marble bathroom on the West Side Highway?
Yeah, on the West Side Highway.
Oh, you mean some house on the West Side Highway?
No, a new building. It's a big project. It's not anything small. It's a large,
I'm impressed. I am impressed with what you do. What's up?
So I was going to talk to you about the drones. So the drones, I was going to tell you, drones, you should definitely get what's called a DJI Mavic Pro. Apparently it's owned by China, the company DJI, and if I'm not mistaken, they're trying to outlaw the sales of it. I know Best Buy just took them off of the market, but they do make the best drones. They're typically the ones that you see used a lot in Ukraine and stuff like that.
DJI Magic Drone? What's another word?
Mavic.
Mavik?
Mavic.
All right. You have one of these things?
So I actually fish with them, which is kind of not supposed to do that, but it's pretty crazy. But I use it to get my bait all the way off of the beach when I fish off of the beach, and it's pretty wild. I put like 1.5 pound bait on there and bring it out. But with that said, you could turn around and buy a drone used for $300 online, and if someone had something, I think.
All right, but wait a second. These damn things are a risk to national security. They're made by China, and they can hack your own drone. And whether you're planting bait, cheating at fishing, or trying to bomb the Pentagon, China can do that. I think you should sink your Mavic DJI drone into the pond where you fish. Get rid of that damn thing.
Greg, one other thing, the ChatGPT, I wanted to touch on that.
Hey, wait a second. I'm not kidding around. You got one of those China drones. They don't sell it for a reason. It's dangerous. We can't trust the Chinese. You know that. You're unmoved. He's unmoved. You still smoking weed?
No, I stopped. I've been taking a break.
All right. Well, listen, thanks for the drone advice. My advice to you, no Chinese drones. And I'm no fisherman, but whatever you're doing with the bait sounds like cheating at fishing. I don't think you're supposed to do it that way. Hey, thanks, pal. I appreciate it. Let's see. Jimmy, hello. Hello? Is he in? Gosh damn it. Pamela, hello.
Hello. Hello. For Bill's sake in Delaware, if you want to contact a prison consultant who can get you in the ins and outs of the prison system in Delaware.
And I really don't care about the ins and outs of the prison system in Delaware. I want him out.
Contact him.
I want him out of jail. I can write him a letter. I mean, I don't know what we need. Bill's fine, all right? He's getting 3 square meals a day, and I know where he is. The trick is getting him the hell out of there, all right?
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?